The diplomatic station orbited a nameless moon in neutral space, a gleaming ring of metal and glass where 100 species met to negotiate, trade, and observe one another with varying degrees of suspicion. It was here that the Kraxith delegation maintained their quarters, austere, chambers befitting a warrior race that had dominated their sector for 3 millennia. Hannah Rodriguez wiped her hands on her maintenance coveralls and squinted at the environmental control panel. Another day, another malfunction. The station was only 5 years old, but with so many different species requiring wildly different atmospheric conditions, something was always breaking down. She didn't mind. Fixing things had always calmed her nerves, and working maintenance meant she could move through areas most humans never saw. The Kraxith quarters were off-limits to most personnel, but a broken climate regulator gave her clearance. She'd read the briefings. Apex predators from a high-gravity world, strict hierarchical culture, children raised in communal warrior creches. The reports emphasized caution. The Kraxith had 7-inch retractable claws and could tear through reinforced steel. Hannah knocked on the bulkhead, a human courtesy that the translation matrix probably wouldn't convey properly, and entered when the door hissed open. The quarters were Spartan. No decorations, no personal items visible. The temperature was 15 degrees higher than human standard, and the air smelled of something metallic and sharp. An adult Kraxith stood near the far wall, easily 8 feet tall, covered in mottled gray and black fur with distinctive striping along the shoulders. Amber eyes fixed on Hannah with an intensity that made her hindbrain scream predator. "Climate control malfunction," Hannah said, keeping her voice steady and gesturing to her toolkit. "I'll have it fixed in 20 minutes. The Kraxith, female, Hannah noted from the broader facial structure, inclined her head slightly. "Proceed." Her voice was a deep rumble that the translator rendered in clipped formal tones. Hannah got to work, removing the access panel and running diagnostics. The problem was simple enough: a blown capacitor in the humidity regulator. She'd need to replace it, which meant fetching a part from her cart in the corridor. As she turned, something caught her eye. There, partially hidden behind a thermal sleeping platform, was a small figure, a Kraxith cub, perhaps 4 or 5 years old in human equivalents. The child was smaller than Hannah had expected, maybe 3 feet tall, but already showing the distinctive predator features of his species. His fur was fluffier, softer, a lighter gray than the adults. What arrested Hannah's attention was the object clutched in the cub's small, clawed hands. It was a toy, a mechanical bird of some kind, its wings designed to flap through some internal mechanism. But one wing hung at a broken angle, and the cub was trying desperately to hide it behind his back, his large eyes darting between Hannah and the adult. The adult Kraxith's posture had shifted, becoming more rigid. "My son, Keshitar. He should not be here." The creche masters. "It's fine," Hannah said softly. She'd seen that look before, in human children who'd broken something precious and feared punishment. Universal emotions transcended species, it seemed. Hannah retrieved the capacitor from her cart and returned to work on the climate control system. But her mind wasn't on the repair. She kept thinking about the broken toy, about the way the cub had tried to hide it, about the slight tremor in those small hands. 15 minutes later, the climate system hummed back to life. Hannah packed her tools, then paused. "I need to run a secondary diagnostic," she announced, "just to make sure the repair holds. I'll need to stay another 10 minutes. The adult Kraxith's eyes narrowed slightly, but she nodded. Hannah pulled out her personal tablet, the one she used for entertainment during long shifts, and sat down on the floor, cross-legged, making herself smaller and less threatening. She opened a technical schematic database and began scrolling, occasionally glancing at the cub. Keshitar watched her with the unblinking intensity of a predator, even at his young age. But curiosity was also universal, Hannah had learned. "Keshitar," Hannah said quietly, not looking directly at him. "Predator species often found direct eye contact aggressive. That's a beautiful toy. May I see it?" The cub's ears flattened against his skull. His mother hissed something in their native language, too quick for the translator. Keshitar's grip tightened on the broken bird. Hannah kept her voice gentle. "I fix things. It's what I do. Climate controls, gravity generators, doors, toys, doesn't matter. If it's broken, I can probably fix it." The cub looked at his mother, then back at Hannah, Slowly, with obvious reluctance, he extended the mechanical bird toward her. Hannah took it carefully, turning it over in her hands. The craftsmanship was exquisite, far more sophisticated than it appeared. The wing had broken at a joint where two alloys met, probably from metal fatigue. A clean break, which was good. She could work with this. From her toolkit, she extracted a micro-welder, some bonding compound, and a tiny actuator arm. The adult Kraxith had moved closer, watching with an expression Hannah couldn't quite read. Hannah worked in silence, her hands steady. She reinforced the joint, replaced the worn actuator, and calibrated the wing's range of motion. It took 8 minutes. When she was done, she activated the toy. The mechanical bird's wings flapped smoothly, and it emitted a soft chirping sound. A holographic shimmer surrounded it, projecting the image of a creature from the Kraxith homeworld, something like a cross between a bird and a flying reptile. With iridescent scales and 4 wings, Keshatar's eyes went wide. He reached for the toy with trembling hands, and when Hannah placed it in his grasp, he made a sound. A high-pitched trill that the translator didn't even attempt to render. Pure joy, untranslatable but unmistakable. The adult Kraxith stared at Hannah for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer, with an undertone of something the translator rendered as profound respect. "You were not asked to do this." "No," Hannah agreed, standing and dusting off her coveralls. "But it was broken and I could fix it. So I did." This toy was a gift from his sire before the war campaigns. It is irreplaceable. Keshatar believed he would be punished for its damage. In our culture, to show such weakness, such attachment to objects. She paused as if searching for words. It is not the warrior way. Hannah thought about the human children she'd known, about her own nephew who'd cried for a week when his favorite stuffed animal was lost. "He's a child," she said simply. "Children love things. That's not weakness. That's what makes them worth protecting." The Kraxith mother was silent for a long time. Keshtar had retreated to his corner, but he was no longer hiding the toy. He played with it openly now, making it fly through the air, his young voice providing sound effects. "The reports we received about humans," the Kraxith said slowly, "spoke of your warrior capabilities. Your endurance, your pack tactics, your refusal to yield. They spoke of humans as pursuit predators who hunted prey across endless distances until it collapsed from exhaustion." She gestured toward her son. "They did not speak of this." Hannah smiled faintly. "That's because the people who write those reports don't understand the most important thing about humans, which is, we're social pack animals who adopted ourselves. We took in wolves and made them into dogs. We domesticated cats who were never fully wild to begin with. We name our vehicles, talk to our plants, and cry at stories about robots learning to feel." Hannah shouldered her toolkit. "We're predators, yes. Pursuit hunters who used to chase down prey until it died of exhaustion. But we're also the species that looks at anything small and hurt and thinks, I can help that, even when it's not our job. Even when we weren't asked." The Kraxith considered this, her amber eyes reflecting something that might have been understanding. The diplomatic corps will want to know of this interaction, this perspective. "They can read it in my maintenance report," Hannah said. "Climate control system in Kraxith quarters repaired and functional. Fixed a toy while running diagnostics. No additional charges." As Hannah left, she heard Keshatar's trill of happiness echo through the corridor behind her. The sound made her smile. The universe was vast and strange, full of species that had evolved under alien suns, developed cultures humanity was only beginning to understand. But some things, a child's love for a treasured object, a parent's desire to protect their young, the simple act of fixing what was broken, those things were universal, and perhaps, Hannah thought, that was the real measure of humanity's place among the stars, not their capacity for violence or endurance, but their instinctive drive to mend what was broken, to ease suffering, to help without being asked. She had 17 more maintenance calls to complete before her shift ended, but Hannah walked a little taller. Somewhere behind her, a small predator cub played with his repaired toy, and for that moment the universe felt a little less cold, a little more kind. The end.